However, it is early to decide on when schools will reopen. Consultations have begun. A final decision will be taken by MHA in this regard, and states will also have to keep the COVID-19 situation in mind. We have on call Dr. Ujjwal Pandey, who is a visiting faculty. Mr. Ujjwal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Mr. Ujjwal, thank you so much for joining us. My first question to you here is, due to the explosion of online teaching in the educational institutions, what is it that we have learned so far?
Okay. So if I understood your question, you are asking me that we have right now included the online mode of teaching in the
Educational
delivery,
institutions.
education
Yeah.
delivery. So what is its impact? Right?
What is it that what is the what is it that we've learned out of it?
Okay. So basically, as you are aware, till now we were on to the traditional mode of teaching where we used to go to classrooms, students used to come, and there was a kind of face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
But due to this pandemic, we slowly shifted to the online mode where we used different kind of online modules like web apps. So
Yeah.
the key learnings out of it is basically of traditional setup. But when we are talking about the new techniques like online modules, there are few challenges like connectivity, then awareness, adoption, and
Yeah.
even in some cases affordability also.
Yeah.
Because obviously internet involves cost,
Yeah.
data packs and all. So these are few challenges, and apart from that, learning for us basically is earlier we used to go to the classroom, so in between for travel we used to spend around 1 hour.
Yeah.
So for time constraint it was tedious, but with online mode it is convenient at the same time due to some technical issues. There are two challenges. So there are pros and cons.
Very well, Mr. Ujjwal. Also, my next question would be passive learning by students. Online teaching, as I can let me explain this. Online teaching can be a little dull, creative wise, as it can easily divert the minds of students. It's creating a new set of challenges for teachers in keeping them engaged. So how are we dealing with this? How is educational institutions, how are they dealing with it? How are they managing to keep the students engaged in the lectures?
Yeah, so you have pointed out rightly. So basically distraction is the key challenge while delivering the lectures through online mode.
Yeah.
So and it's not like that students are not engaging themselves. There are other challenges as well, connectivity issues as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So to keep them engaged, we need to customize our way of delivery. So earlier we used to have books in front of us in form of hard copy, but now we have to adopt some kind of e-content like PPTs, business cases, some e-modules kind of stuff to
Right.
keep them engaged
Right.
during the lecture.
So here I would next like to ask you the changing format of the recruitment. There is a major risk here in recruitment or retention or the admission practices, the criteria for admission, or there might be new methods of outreach of how schools are looking at taking admissions of students or the application process. How is it getting affected?
Yeah, definitely it is getting affected because most of the businesses are moving to online mode right now.
Yeah.
And this is a very good learning for all of us that we should have some kind of alternate mechanism where we can interact with people through online.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, in education sector also, I think slowly institutions are moving to the online modes. Now they are coming up with their interactive websites, automated forms, inquiry forms, and all kind of content, awareness content like brochures, courseware, and all stuff.
So, keeping all this in mind, how serious is this setback for students for not having their formal education? It's been for more than 2.5 months. So, how serious is this setback for students?
Yes, definitely it is a concern for them because it is linked to their connectivity. Earlier they were very much connected with their studies and now it's like overall disturbance.
Yeah.
So I think this situation will remain as is for at least next 2-3 months in my view. Once we have something solid in terms of medication or any alternative, then probably the situation will improve and slowly students will also get used to for their normal study schedules.
Also, Mr. Ujjwal, I would like to ask you, how prepared are schools right now? What is the situations of the educational institutions right now? How are they prepared? As there are a lot of schools and colleges that have already opened and started their online education, online teaching, sorry. So, how prepared are they? How are they welcoming? If at all in July there have been any changes and they are ready to open, how are they going to welcome students now?
Yeah. So see, I think there are a lot of things going on to cater this situation.
Yeah.
So in my view, there are few institutions who are planning to conduct alternate days classes.
Yeah.
Even some are going one step above. They will continue with the online modules, and some institutions are going with the regular mode with kind of sanitation and all precautionary practices.
As you've rightly pointed out, alternative days. How are students? I mean, how are educational institutions going to? How are they going to fit into it? There are many educational institutions which are less funded, might not have the enough infrastructure to do these alternate days, or probably the faculty they have is not enough for shift changing of lecturers. These are some of the major things that educational institutions are facing right now, especially institutions which are less funded. What can be an alternative situations for them? Because in rural areas, many of the students might not be able to afford a gadget, a technical gadget, where they even can go for an online teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about them right now? What is an alternative that they can look into?
So if I understood your question, you are asking me about the affordability of students who are not getting exposed to the gadgets and digital tools.
Yeah, also the educational institutions which are a little less funded, which cannot afford to have enough infrastructure, or if they don't have enough faculty for shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 2 points. So from educational institutes perspective, I think it is all related to the change management.
Yeah.
So I think there is lot of going on. Alternate mode of lecture is one of it. Parallelly, as I said, irrespective of funds, there will be a kind of reshuffling of even faculties also, which will impact their schedules. But I think the content and delivery part will remain as is, irrespective of delivery schedules. And on the other point about the affordability of students who are right now in villages and they are facing challenges to connect with the online courses, I think this is a genuine challenge and government should do something for it.
Yeah.
some
So-
kind of subsidized, I think in past something was started related to the iPads and all. So
Yeah.
we need to think on that part as well, where affordability is a big issue.
Also, I would like to ask you here, as you have sorted so many points, what is it that the educational institutions are looking forward to right now from the government? What is the support that they're looking forward to, or what are they expecting from government to support them with?
So I
Yeah.
think the very basic expectation from the institutions to government is a kind of online interface where there is a minimal interaction, minimal human interaction, and all day-to-day activities can be performed virtually. Because there is lot of admin work where institutes are uploading student data, then they are processing it. There are a lot of things which are interdependent on human interaction.
Right.
So I think for institutions, they are looking forward for a kind of automated interface where their people interaction can be reduced, at the same time efficiency should be improved.
Right.
This is the first thing.
Right.
And apart from that, on the course and content part, it again ties up to the interface, I mean all IT interface. There should be a kind of mechanism where there is a facility that students should get their lectures through website, not through the online mode where they can visit any website and they see the uploaded lectures
Right.
in an e-format.
Right.
So
Also,
it's all kind of infrastructure development.
right. As you've pointed out that the administrative system is uploading a lot of data, the lecturers are uploading a lot of data, there's a lot of information online. How is it, what are the precautions that the institutions taking right now for the privacy of this data? How safe is this data in a closed is it like a gated community, or can anyone access it, or do we need to register? What is it? How are the institutions taking care of the privacy of this data that is being uploaded on the internet?
Yeah, it's very important issue. So right now, whatever institutes are uploading, it's all based on the current and existing system.
Right.
So there might be security challenges once we start moving completely to the online infrastructure. So obviously, I think we need to take some steps on that part as well, on security part.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Ujjwal Pandey, for joining us. You've been very insightful. There's a very informative points that you've suggested. Thanks a lot for joining with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.